Welcome to Comedy Wham Presents. I'm your host, Lara Smith. This week we're joined by a comedian, writer, and one of the longtime cast members of the legendary Master Pancake Theater. He now calls a little place called Rooster Teeth his office. Join me as Comedy Wham presents the very talented Andrew Rosas.
I've cried so many times today already. I've got no more tears left. No, I'm fine.
What a way to start. Andrew Rosas.
Hello.
Thank you. Welcome to Comedy Wham Presents. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Always feels funny to talk as if there's an audience when you're sitting in the middle of a beer garden.
A beer garden. Children running around, dogs sniffing everything they can reach within leash distance. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Of course, yeah.
We'll start all the way back when Andrew Rosas was a wee lad.
A wee child.
Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in San Antonio, so
Okay.
just down the road.
We got a fight.
Oh no, there's a scrap. There's a bunch of little dogs.
We're recording live from a dog fighting ring. Sorry, born and raised.
Born and raised in San Antonio.
Okay.
In 1984.
Okay.
And I grew up there, went to elementary school there, and lived there till I was 18, and then moved to Austin to come to college at UT.
Okay.
And I've been here ever since. Lived on the north, growing up, lived on the north side of San Antonio. And eventually my parents moved us out to the country, so I grew up actually most of my life kind of in a rural setting. They had 5 acres out in the country, and so that's where I did most of my growing up. Was out in the sticks, cedar more specifically.
Oh.
It wasn't like a forest. It was just an allergy nightmare.
I was gonna say. So beyond the allergies, what was it like growing up in a rural San Antonio area?
Well, it was nice. It was beautiful. It was quiet. You could see all the stars out there at night. Where we lived was the only thing that was kind of different about it, because then I'd just drive into town or be driven into town every day to go to school.
Uh-huh.
So in high school, I got transferred to an arts high school called NISA, the Northeast School of the Arts.
Okay.
For film. And that was about, on a good day, 50 minutes away from my house. So I had an hour commute 5 days a week to school. Freshman year, one of my parents had to drive because there weren't any buses. It was a magnet school, but I was so far away, there weren't any buses that were coming to get me.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, for 5 days a week for one whole school year before I got my license, one of my parents would drive me into town for an hour just to drop me off at an arts high school.
Hold on, you're in comedy and you had parents that supported you artistically.
Completely. I know.
What?
I know. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to turn off the recorder and then we've got to get your tragic story together and then start over.
I know.
That's great.
It's wonderful, and it's super not, it's not juicy. It's
Right.
I have wonderful parents. My mom and dad were super supportive of me trying some things and doing some different kind of stuff, which I'm very thankful for. Very, very fortunate.
How early on in your childhood did that surface? Did it become obvious that you had a lean towards the arts?
I think I don't know if whether the sort of nature or nurture side of thing, which way you want to point. I've been told, I don't remember this, but I've been told that I was quite a ham from a very young age. So there was always, I guess, some kind of performative thing that I was up to from a young age. And writing stories and telling stories and doing that from a pretty young age. So I guess it's always kind of been there. And wonderfully and thankfully, my folks really, really encouraged that. I think I come by it honestly. Like my dad's side of the family are from Laredo, and they're like very practical and like business minded, and have machinations for success, and like they're very business minded. And my mom's side of the family are like artists and teachers and musicians and actresses and actors and stuff like that. So I feel like I got a decent exposure to both, but definitely I guess lean toward my mom's side of the family. I look like all of them. I look like all of them too. So yeah, that was nurtured from a pretty young age, which I'm thankful for.
So when did comedy start to play a role? You already kind of had the performing itch. When did comedy raise its head?
It's funny, like not until my early mid-20s.
Okay.
So I went to school for that high school for the arts for film, which is a lot more glamorous than it sounds. It was a high school where like they gave us some cameras, and so for like 2 hours a day we just went and filmed stuff, and like it was fun and really cool, and like an experience that a lot of people wouldn't have, but we weren't like learning film theory in that class, you know what I mean? Right. It wasn't like a college class, it was like an elective arts class instead of like going to like art and painting or drawing or anything like that. We were given a camera and gone out to do that. So then like starting then got into the storytelling side of things.
Yeah. And
then I came to college and got really into music. Like making music, writing music, performing. That was like my main focus like through a lot of my early college days, because I came to UT to do radio, television, film, and I didn't get into the program, and so I kind of like was aimless like my freshman, sophomore year. I like almost failed out of UT because I just didn't go, because I was like, well, I'm not an RTF, I guess I'll do English Lit, which I was like, I mean, kind of interested in, not really. I mean, I appreciate English literature, but it's not what I wanted to study.
Right.
So I kind of dicked off and didn't go to class and almost failed out. And so then but at this point I was still just kind of doing music primarily. And then I dropped out of UT because I didn't want to waste any more money on something that I didn't want to do, I was just like, well, I'm kind of spinning my wheels here, spending an awful lot of money to do it. I'll just not go here anymore. So I took like a year and a half off and worked on... I'm giving you like the full history. You asked when comedy came into my life.
No. You're doing all the heavy lifting for me.
So I took a year off and like worked, went to ACC and just like took like basic college like math, Spanish, and actually took some like music classes, because ACC actually has a pretty decent music business program actually. Mm-hmm. So I took a few like classes. I did that, and then transferred to St. Ed's to kind of finish my degree, because they actually offered a creative writing degree. A creative writing degree, which at the time UT didn't offer. They just offered English literature degree, not English writing or creative writing. They've added that program there. But, so it's like, creative writing, excellent, let's see what this is about. And so I finished my degree at UT and had a great time. And
You finished at UT or St. Ed's?
I'm sorry, St. Ed's.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. Finished at St. Ed's, thank you for catching me. Finished at St. Ed's. But while I was there, I started playing on like a kind of beer league intramural softball team. And just as like a fun thing, like the long story is, I answered a Craigslist ad to join a band. It was like a country band. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
I played keyboards and like piano and some guitar, and so some of the guys in that band were also on this like kind of beer league softball team, and so I joined the softball team, and that's how I met some other comedians in town. Is how I met Mac Blake, really.
Oh, yeah.
And Mac Blake and I had really hit it off and became fast friends. And then I met David Hatta, one of the funniest people I've ever known in my life, who's living out in San Francisco right now. And so I got involved in doing sketch comedy with them. They had a sketch comedy troupe called Stag Comedy. Mm-hmm. And, just because I was hanging out with them so much, we got to talking about, maybe me writing some sketches and seeing what's what. And so, I wrote a couple sketches for them. And they liked them and asked me to join the group. And so then I was doing sketch comedy, which I'd always loved. I'd grown up with Monty Python and Mr. Show and, to a lesser extent, Wider Kids You Know, and Kids in the Hall and the State and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I liked that format. It was, performative. It was live sketch. We did videos as well. All that was really appealing. So I got to do that. And it wasn't, I guess doing sketch comedy, I was never like, well, this is my shifts come in. This is how I make my living doing sketch comedy. It was a fun hobby, and got to do it with, some of my best friends, which is I think that's the new American dream. Is just doing what you want with your friends,
right?
Or making a living with your friends. So working, that's the goal. So, I got to do this really fun thing with some of my best friends, and that is how I met, through Stag, through Mac and David, who also did Master Pancake Theater. Mm-hmm. That's how I met John Earler. And the main head dude at Master Pancake, that's how I met him. I'm giving you the full history here.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, that's how I met him. And I guess this is around, at this point, it's about 2011. Mm-hmm. And it's about when I met John. And, also this is a super small town, but I also took a comedy writing class at St. Ed's from Owen Edgerton. Fantastic filmmaker, super funny guy, also in Pancake, so it's just the smallest world. Wonderful man. So I met John Earler and hit it off, and then he asked me if I wanted, kind of out of the blue, asked me if I wanted to be an audience plant in a pancake show. So I was supposed to sit in the audience and just heckle them. And it was part of the skit, the stop the movie skit in the middle. And so I did that. And, John and I hit it off, and it's actually happening pretty soon now. The Oscars came about. And he's like, hey, I'm having a bunch of the Pancake people over to watch the Oscars. Do you want to come and live tweet it? So we just all sit around the room and we'll make jokes. I'll type them out on the Pancake, Twitter account, which has a bunch of followers and stuff. And so I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, what an honor, I'd love to. So went over there and just made jokes during the Oscars. It went really well, and from there he was a couple weeks later he was like, hey, great job on Sunday on the Oscars. Do you want to come write some jokes? We're about to start doing Jurassic Park for Master Pancake. Do you want to come just write some jokes, watch the movie? He's like, Pancake, you've seen the show, you know how it works, just write some jokes. He's like, okay, absolutely, I would absolutely love to do that, what a dream. Trying to play it cool on the phone,
right?
Let me check my schedule.
Girl screaming on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I think I can do that. And so, I think that'll work. And so I wrote some jokes for the Jurassic Park show, and they did a 3 week run of it. And on the final weekend, John was like, hey man, your jokes are going over great. People are loving it. You should just come do the show with us. Just come do your own jokes in the show. Be the fourth person on this team.
Oh, wow.
And so, I was unbelievably ecstatic about it because, you know, I loved Mystery Science Theater growing up. It was one of my favorite things of all time, and I love Pancake since I moved to Austin.
Right.
It was the Sinus show, like, when I first moved here, and then became Pancake in 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
But it's something, you know, since I came to Austin was kind of, like, always part of my life here, and I loved it, and I, you know, go to shows, and so, like, and I remember very distinctly being, like, going to, it was, like, right when the Sinus Pancake switch, like, crossover, like, when it changed over to Master Pancake. I remember being there, and it was like 2007, 2008, and being like, I'd love to do this. Like, I don't even know how one goes about doing this or joining this group, or like, that'll never happen. I mean, what a dream. It would be like a fun thing to do. And then, like, flash forward like 6 years later, and I was doing the show. And
had you read The Secret or something? No. Did you make a message, like a vision board?
Yeah, exactly. Just put a big picture of John Earler, like, right up there, right up on the vision board, next to my framed picture of John Earler, which I just keep by my bed. No, yeah, and so I was, all of a sudden I was, like, doing Master Pancake, and like, pretty quickly was getting in there and doing a lot of shows. I think, like, my first and second year of doing Pancake, I think I did, like, nine or 10, like, runs. So 9 or 10 or 3 runs. So it was like a you know, every weekend pretty much of the year I was, like, doing Pancake stuff, and it, you know, it's a super huge honor. It was,
right.
You know, a literal dream come true, because I remember being in that theater and, like, this would be fun to do, and then all of a sudden you're doing it, and yeah, it's very surreal.
So I'm going to pause long enough to
Sure.
explain to anybody who is listening that is not from Austin.
Oh, yes.
Master Pancake is a show that's been running for over a decade. I don't know how long. It's because I think it was. I would totally mess up the history, but it's been quite a long time. And it is patterned kind of after Mystery Science 3000. And it used to be called Mr. Sinus.
Yes.
Until there was a little bit of
a cease and desist, perhaps?
something.
Something?
Maybe. So
something was printed on stationery, a letterhead of some perhaps.
So if you aren't from Austin, then you may not understand how big a deal this thing is. But in Austin especially, this is huge. And so it sounded like this unfurled for you kind of quickly in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it happened pretty fast, because, like, you know, with sketch comedy that I'd been doing in the years before, it was like a fun thing that, you know, we never made $1 doing it.
Right.
Like, it was just like, oh, this is fun and with our friends and it's cool. And then we started doing Pancake. I started doing Pancake, and I was like, oh, this is paying me, like, pretty well to do comedy. Mm-hmm. Like, hitherto unknown, inexperienced thing. I just never had, like, anything like that.
Yeah.
As doing, like, being paid to do something fun and creative and, you know, comedy. So I was kind of floored by it. It did happen really fast.
So can you briefly talk about the process, or is it you think John's okay with y'all talking about how y'all work up a show? Or
oh yeah, I don't think it's like I don't think it's a
right.
There's not like a secret sauce or secret formula. Like, you know, we'll get like a title of a movie. Like right now we're doing Sin City, and so yeah, like a couple weeks out from the from the show, we'll sit down together as a group, like whatever crew. It's a rotating cast of people.
Uh-huh.
John's always in it, but it's like a rotating cast of people. And so we'll sit down and we'll watch the movie, like probably like 3 or 4 times together, and then watch it, I don't know, a couple more times on our own just to like work things out. And you just kind of sit together and riff and write jokes.
So it's not heavily, what y'all are doing is not heavily scripted, and y'all have probably a little bit of a pre-written out.
It actually is.
Okay.
Like most shows, I would say are about 90 to 95% written, like scripted shows that we just work out doing those practices. We just the cream rises to the top, the best jokes, get the spots, and we've got kind of a good system, and everyone there is like everyone who does Pancake. I love everyone who does Pancake. They're some of the funniest people I've ever met, and we just it's a team sport, so we're in there and just want to make the best show possible.
Right.
So we're in there, and we pretty much write the show, and then there's a little wiggle room for improvisation, and the show from the first show week 1 to the last show week 3 or 4, the show changes quite a bit because you write new things. You even as the show's going on, you're I've been doing this one joke 3 times. I've done it 3 times and it's never hit. I'm gonna try something else there,
right? And
then that hits, and so there's an evolution to it.
Also, probably I would imagine after watching and doing a movie over and over again, to keep it fresh for yourselves, you probably need to add a little bit of it's got to evolve a little for your own sake.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it has to, because people ask me sometimes you've watched 50 Shades of Grey over. I watched 50 Shades of Grey over 60 times.
Oh, bless your heart.
And it's how can you do it? How that must be a nightmare. And it is. No, it's
this is what you get for having supportive parents.
I know.
Is the balance.
Exactly. Remember that struggle we were talking about earlier? It's watching 50 Shades of Grey.
It's watching 50 Shades of Grey 60 times.
60 times.
You've watched 50 Shades of Grey more than each shade of grey.
Absolutely.
That's awful.
I know. And I probably watched that movie more than anyone who made the movie, save for the editor who has to watch it countless times. But,
I don't know.
Maybe a robot edited, but that doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. But so yeah, we did. I've seen some of these movies. Some shows that have had longer runs, like Jurassic Park, the first show I ever did. I've seen that one. I've seen Jurassic Park over 100 times,
wow.
Easily, and that's a great movie. So,
yeah.
So I don't really mind it. But people ask me, to do these shows and you watch the same things over and over again. Does that get old? And I feel if people are coming to the show, if people are laughing,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't get old.
Right.
People laughing at jokes makes it not get old or get tiring.
Because at that point, you're not just watching a movie; you're doing a show.
Exactly. There's
you're performing.
Precisely.
Okay. That makes sense.
Precisely, and that performative side of it, and doing the skit, and and even over the years, shows will evolve and change a little bit. They're mostly the same, but they change and evolve a little bit. But that performative aspect of it, I think, is what keeps it fresh and keeps it fun, and makes those titles that we've done again and again that are great movies, and the jokes are still really good. Makes that it brings us back to those titles and movies again and again. So, Master Pancake for a long time. So, Master Pancake became my full-time job, as a matter of fact. A while, for a couple of years, that was my job. So I just worked on the weekends, and then would write shows during the day. Mm-hmm. And it's fantastic. I mean, I still do Master Pancake. I was I feel like I was about to start talking oh, that was a great thing we had once. No, I'm still doing it. It's fantastic. So about the time I was doing Pancake, or I guess a couple years after Pancake, I started doing stand-up. And I like doing stand-up. It's a lot of fun, but it's it's not my one true love, you know what I mean? It has that kind of performative thing that I really, really enjoy. Mm-hmm. And, when it's great, it's the best. And when it's deaf, it's the worst.
You're dangling out there.
Yeah. Just like any other show or any kind of other creative thing.
Well, yeah, it seems like everything that you had done up until stand-up had been, like you described Master Pancake, a team sport. You were doing sketch, you were doing all of these things. I don't know if you did improv a lot, but you were doing things that were a team effort. So, what was your first open mic like?
My first open mic, I did the Cherrywood open mic. That was my first open mic. And it was fine. I think I still have the jokes that I did there written down somewhere. I mean, it's like fine. There's nothing. I didn't bomb, but it's like an open mic, so it's like, I don't know. It's like it was a solid C+, B-. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't death and it wasn't great. It was just like, oh, that's cool. I've been doing. I did that.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I just kept like kind of. I just admire the other the other stand-ups in town. I mean, real stand-ups in town who are out there hitting mics all the time and like generating new stuff and like getting out there and hustling and doing it. Like, I have so much respect for that because I'm like the most like passive stand-up comedian in the world. Like, I just don't go out and do it as much as I would if I like was honest with myself and like being honest that it's not my like one true love. I know that, because if it was, I'd be out there like doing it. You know what I mean? So, but that having that being said, I do really enjoy doing it, and it's a lot of fun. But it is a solo effort, and the team and the everything I had done up until that point, like you said, was a team sport. And I enjoy both, but I just have a lot of respect for the people who are out there hitting mics and grinding. Yeah, like it's very admirable and really cool. And Mac was like, because I never thought I would do stand-up or like write stand-up, but Mac was like a really huge inspiration to me, because like about the time I joined Stag, he started doing stand-up, and so I saw him like I went and saw him like kind of do his first year at stand-up. Yeah, and then I think within like 3 or 4 years he won FPIA, and so to like see that evolve, see that happen, was just like so cool and very inspirational, because he's the best.
He is very good.
I just like, this is too funny. Like, it's too funny. So that was really inspirational, and like tried my hand at it, and yeah, it's still a blast, but it's definitely not like it didn't get its hooks in me, like the way like people like talk about it, just being like, I can't, there's no other way. Right. The same, I took a few improv classes, and that was the same thing. Like, I enjoyed it, I had fun, but it didn't get its hooks in me like it gets some people. Like, some people, like, improv becomes their life. Some people, like, stand-up becomes their life. And I like, that's awesome. And I like, I think it's great. I think it's fun. And there's like, people talk about the like rift between like stand-up and improv, and they're like all, there's this like, I think like made up this adversary between the two, but it is totally like the narcissism of small differences. It's like,
there's a few that bridge the gap and makes it peaceful in the Austin scene, I suppose.
Yeah, and Mac being one of those people, right. As a matter of fact. But yeah, it's just the like, oh no, we all just love doing our thing on stage, like for an audience, like so. It's just a different.
Like, what medium are you painting with? Is all that matters.
Right. Yeah. It's like,
Or I say painting. What medium are you working with?
Working with, exactly. But all of us want to do. All of us want to perform for people and have them like it.
What's on your vision board next?
Vision board next. Okay. Well, so I'll give.
By the time this comes out, you win an Oscar or something. You get a Comedy Central franchise, like.
Oh man, I mean that would be incredible. So I'll give you the quick history, up until pretty much 1 year ago. Right around now, as a matter of fact. I was kind of feeling a little creatively stagnant. I don't know. I was feeling just I need to do something, write something. So I wrote a pilot, original sitcom pilot, and I sent it to a few people, a few friends. Got some good feedback. I sent it to Owen Edgerton, and he was like, "Man, I think this is so funny. This is great. I am this company in town, Rooster Teeth, is making a movie right now, and they're looking for someone to come in on set and just write punch up and do on set rewrites and look at the script and just kind of break it down and help them do on set writing. Do you mind if I give them this pilot? Because do you mind if I give them this pilot and see where that goes?" I'm like, "Yeah, please." Wow. And so he gave them my pilot, and within a week I got a call from one of the producers over there, and it was like, "Hey, do you want to come just sit on set of this movie and just do on set rewrites?" And I had another kind of the same day I got the
where this is going.
The same kind of phone call on that I had with John. I was like, "Yes!" And so I was on set. They gave me I got a little desk and was sitting, they were filming in the next room, and so I was on set doing punch up and writing stuff and going home and poring over the pages and basically what I thought was going to be small. I was like, "Oh, I'll just kind of be on there to give alts for jokes and stuff like that." Ended up being a bigger writing project,
oh, wow.
Rewriting a lot of the second act and doing some work there. And it kind of got bigger, and I started doing more stuff, and met some really awesome people, made some friends on set, just knowing nobody. That's the thing. Right. It's just showed up on set. It's who the hell is this guy? And so I got to do that. That ended, and I was like, "Oh man, that was incredible."
Right.
That was such a wonderful experience. I definitely want to do that again. And then last summer rolled around, and I got a call from this guy Ryan Hall. He's one of the producers, one of the heads of development there at Rooster Teeth. He gave me a call. He was like, "Hey, we're putting together a series right now that we're kind of putting the writer's room together for. Do you want to meet with the showrunner and maybe talk about being in that writer's room?" And again,
pause for scream.
I was like, "Yeah, that sounds really great." And so over the summer we did a writer's room for this sitcom, and that was a 5-week writer's room, and it was so much fun. And I remember I had such a good time in that writer's room, just writing jokes, writing episodes. And I remember the first day, what was amazing is the first day was incredible of that writer's room. And we all came in, we had met each other beforehand, but we came in and we were from. It wasn't just "Hi, how you doing? All right, jokes." So we'd met each other before we actually sat down. We just started beating out this the pilot and a few other episodes and just writing jokes. And I remember going to after at the end of the day, it was in my car, and I just cried. It was just it was this is what I want to do.
Oh wow.
Forever. This, whatever feeling this is, I want to keep this going because this is the best. Just writing with a group of people, just trying to make dialogue and scenes, and coming up with bits and writing jokes. It was just the best. And so, but then the 4 weeks ended, or the 5. It was 4 weeks, and then there was just punch up on the drafts after that 5th week. But then that ended, and it's oh, well, what a blast.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And then, you know, made friends there, like, got to, you know, have some great conversations with the people there. And I think they liked my work, because in September they offered me a full-time job.
That's incredible.
As a staff writer for their live action department. So it's September 25th, the day before, 2 days before my birthday, I got a full-time job at Rooster Teeth, and so that's what I'm doing now, as like live action department in their comedy writer for them.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Have you pinched yourself yet?
It is, you know, I'm 33.
Uh-huh.
And just like thinking, I think back to, like, you know, being in the theater, like, you know, watching Pancakes, like, oh, that'd be fun to do. Like, thinking back to those days where it was just kind of like, oh, what a, you know, like, maybe. Mm-hmm. And then now I'm writing, I'm working on a feature for them right now, a comedy feature, and a few other projects. And busy, but like the best kind of busy. Like the kind of busy I like being, just like working on stuff, working on you know, series and features and what I went to high school for. You know what I mean? Like, it all kind of comes back. It's like I went there for film because I wanted to tell stories and make movies and do that kind of thing. And movies and TV because I, you know. So yeah, that's where we are right now. That brings us up to this date. So yeah, I've been you know, that's what I've been working on over there since September.
So anything you haven't done yet that you want to do?
Well, nothing I've written's been made yet.
Have you looked at The Simpsons and gone, that looks like a neat show? I wonder what that'd be like. You get a call from Matt.
Hey, it shows up on my phone as Matt.
I saw some stuff you did with Rooster Teeth.
Oh, man. Look. You know, The Simpsons is my favorite show of all time. So, of course, I don't think I'd scream at that phone call. I think I would just burst into flames. Because it wouldn't get any better than that, I don't think.
Oh, Andrew, we hardly knew you.
Yeah, I know. Just
How did he die?
Well, he got No, we don't know.
Spontaneous combustion, we imagine.
We imagine. No, you know, on the, like, I guess on the horizon, I just, getting to, like, write and direct something that I wrote for Rooster Teeth, I guess is, like, the next thing. I guess is the next goal or thing that I, you know, really like to do, and that seems fun. I've written, like, a few short things for them, short form things that have been made. Mm-hmm. One thing I co-directed, which was a really awesome, fun thing to do, really, really cool experience. So I think taking on, like, a bigger project, like a, you know, seeing a feature that I wrote, or like a series pilot get made would be, I mean, incredible. I mean, it'd be amazing. Like, there's no downplaying how awesome that would be. And it's like, I'm not too cool for that. Like, that would be an absolute dream come true. So I think that's, you know, what I'm looking forward to doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, how do they find you? If people want to check out your stuff, if people want to...
Oh, my goodness.
I know you have a website.
I do have a website that's woefully unmaintained. Okay. It's just like, my website's like andrewjamesrosas.com, which is just like, here's all the things I do. Master Pancake, stand-up, sketch. You know, it hasn't been updated since I got a job at Rooster Teeth.
I was going to say, I don't think Rooster Teeth is on there, because I gave it a good glance. So.
Yeah, it's definitely not on there. Yeah, I don't think I've updated that in like 8 months. I'm bad. It's bad. If people want to watch some stuff, I would say, well, you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Andrew Rosas. That's just a solely, like, a stupid joke outlet, you know, and so there's at Mr. Andrew Rosas for Twitter, and I would say go to roosterteeth.com and just keep your eye out for some stuff coming down the pipe. soon. There's some stuff that I wrote that will be coming out fairly shortly that I'm pretty excited about. We're actually we're filming something next week. We're filming a trailer for something next week that'll come out at the end of March. That I'm pretty excited about. Without giving too much away. But yeah, so I'd say go there to see some of the stuff I've been writing and working on most recently.
And they can still, for now, see you in person at Master Pancake.
Yeah, absolutely. Go
get a ticket.
Yeah, go get a ticket if you're in Austin. If you're not in Austin, fly down. I would say it's worth a trip.
You'll be here for something, right?
Yeah.
One of the 800 festivals or 5Ks or half marathons that we have here.
Absolutely. One comedian in town said, I think it was Mike Wiebe or something, said we're like a festival-based economy in Austin, or it's like the circus just come, like all the carnies live in town. The circus just runs through.
Right.
Yeah, come see Master Pancake. We're doing Sin City this weekend, and then we're doing Wes Anderthon, which will be a Wes Anderson clip show.
Wow.
So it'll be a collection of clips from all Wes Anderson movies.
When does that start?
That starts in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm not sure. Oh, and then the last weekend of March, we're doing the 10 Commandments. For
Easter.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
And then we did that for the first time last year, and it is a super fun show. Very blasphemous in the best way, and yeah, it's great.
Well, thanks very much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
And everyone out there, thank you so much for listening to Comedy Wham. Go find us. You can find interviews like this one at comedywham.com, and go to iTunes and rate and review us, because we like people listening.
Gotta get those stars.
Yep. All right, thanks for listening, everyone.